It's a Football Friday with Freddie Coleman on Big Board Sports.
Wow. There's only one guy that is a guest of ours on this show, a regular guest, that gets a little extra love with an open. That's called an open in our business, an opening to the segment. Good morning, Freddie.
I am stunned. I mean, I knew I liked you guys and you guys liked me, but I didn't realize it was to that level.
Oh, we have taken this to a new level. The love that we show Freddie Coleman from ESPN here every Friday, and we love it. Freddie, happy holidays to you, man. Thanks for coming on for a few minutes. And I got to tell you, the Giant fans are pumped up around here. They are all about the G-men here, and maybe they can make a serious run in the postseason. But I'll start there because the game against Detroit, I think Stafford's hurt. I think he will play, not 100%. I like the Giants this weekend, but they got to be careful because this is a little different Detroit Lions team coming in here late in the season.
Especially when you start with the guy that has made it a different team, and that's Matthew Stafford. I don't think there's any doubt he's an MVP candidate in the National Football League because he warned all of us before the season started. No Calvin Johnson. He didn't have the least bit of concern. He said, we're going to be fine offensively. As it turns out, he was exactly right. But the defense, even with the injuries they suffered, they've been a pretty good defense. But I clearly understand why Giants fans are pumped up because if they're able to play defense like we saw last Sunday night, holding that powerful Cowboys offense to 7 points, and if they can stop turning over the football in key moments, they're just like everybody else, Roger, in the NFC and really in the AFC. Everybody has a flaw or two that can keep them from making a deep run in the playoffs. The Giants have as much of a chance of getting out of the NFC. The same thing with Detroit, the same thing with Seattle, the same thing with Dallas. And I think this is the most wide-open NFC that we've seen probably in the last 4 to 5 years.
Yeah, Odell Beckham Jr. said, that we're winning games with our offense really not clicking. Do you think this offense, Freddie, is capable of clicking with Eli Manning, who has had a great year? They are still winning despite the offense not putting up big numbers.
Well, it comes down to that offensive line because at a certain point, you're going to have to provide better protection for Eli Manning because that Cowboys defensive line, they really played on the other side of the line of scrimmage, maybe too much to the liking if you're Ben McAdoo, the head coach in that offense. So that offensive line has to get better, but Eric Flowers has got to stop being a turnstile because if he's playing like that, then everybody has to make up for his mistakes. And at a certain point, that's going to catch up to you. That's why I give the Giants a lot of credit that they've been an inconsistent offense, and I thought they would be better than that. And here they are 9-4 with more than a puncher's chance of having a great run in the playoffs. But I still wonder if that offensive line, that lack of consistent running game, is going to be their undoing. Now, it's gotten better lately, and I think a big part of that is that Paul Perkins has really helped out the running game, so only good can come out of that if he gets more touches. But if that offensive line continues to be leaky, then a flood's going to happen in a playoff game, and that will be the undoing for the New York Giants if they don't find a way to rectify that as the regular season comes down to its conclusion.
We're talking with Freddie Coleman. We do it every Friday morning. Freddie and Fitz, of course, on ESPN Radio. Freddie, Patriots have lost 6 of their last 7 games in Mile High. Is this a monkey New England needs to get off its back heading into the postseason? How do you see this one in Denver over the weekend?
Roger, it's funny you mentioned that because I talked about that last night a little bit, that the Patriots, there's certain games or certain situations that they want to circle, and they have clearly circled this because they lost not once but twice to the Denver Broncos at Denver's place last year, of course, once in the playoffs and once in the regular season. So going into this game, they're going to do everything they can to send the message to the AFC that even if we have to play on the road, we're going to beat you. This is a message to not only Denver, but to Kansas City, but to Oakland or anybody that could be in their way in the AFC. And you look at the other side with the Denver Broncos, they have their offensive line issues. Their running game has been abysmal all season long, and they're hoping that Trevor Siemian will make enough plays in the playoffs because the defense has done a great job carrying them, but there's only so much you can put on that defense if you're not making plays on the other side. So I think New England has circled this game saying, okay, this is a team that we're probably going to have to deal with. We don't want them to believe by any shade or by any reason that they're going to find a way to beat us in the playoffs. So it's going to have a playoff-like atmosphere playing on the road. We know Broncos fans can't stand the Patriots and vice versa. It's going to have a playoff feel to it. I think New England wins this game because Tom Brady, once again, playing like an elite quarterback, and I think they'll find enough on defense to make some plays and not allow Trevor Siemian to do anything positive against them.
Freddie, what kind of impact do you think the Patriots picking up wide receiver Michael Floyd off waivers. I know he's been maligned here, had the DUI cut by Arizona. But to me, Freddie, this just seems like a classic Patriots swoop in. And are you expecting them to turn this into something this season?
It's legalized robbery, what the New England Patriots do when it gets to situations like this. I mean, seriously, you get Michael Floyd. I know what happened off the football field in the Arizona Cardinals. Usually when someone gets cut based after a situation like that, that means he's done other things that they had no choice but to move on from him. I think there's a lot more that we'll never know behind the scenes with Michael Floyd. But now you're a Patriots team where you get him, and all of a sudden now you have a big receiver that can play in the red zone with your tight end Bennett. No one's going to replace Rob Gronkowski, but it's nice to have a physical presence where you can throw the ball to him inside the red zone. So now Julian Edelman, he gets a little bit more space. Chris Hogan, he gets a little bit more space. Amendola, he gets a little bit more space. The running game with LeGarrette Blount gets a little more space. They're going to play this guy on Sunday. They're not waiting a week for him. They're thinking, look, he's still in football shape. We're not going to give him too much to do, but what we're going to give him, we're going to maximize him. It's a typical Patriot move because I'm sure a lot of other teams were going to shy away from Michael Floyd. Bill Belichick knows that we're going to bring him in here. We've done enough intel on him that if we believe that he could not help us, we would not have signed him. They signed him with the attitude that, hey, we're going to play this guy, and he's going to help us because we need another big target in the red zone. Not every move that they do like this works, but I think this one, especially when you don't have to pay him a lot of money, is going to work out just fine for the New England Patriots.
Freddie, how about Rex Ryan? Where do you stand on Rex? Is he done? Is no matter what happens here, final 3 games, and they certainly should beat the Browns. If they don't beat Cleveland, he may be done sooner than later. But you think Rex Ryan is going to be the coach next year, or do you think he's out no matter what when this season ends?
The trade winds, Roger, seem to be leaning that the Buffalo Bills are going to have a new head coach, and this could be a completely different organization next year. What I mean by that is I think they're going to fire Rex Ryan, and heaven forbid if they lose to Cleveland this weekend, Zach and Roger will be the new interim head coaches for the Buffalo Bills on Monday morning if that happens. And they've already talked about that in the paper, saying we can't lose this game to a winless Cleveland Browns team. But I think they'll have a different quarterback next year because Tyrod Taylor, if they renew his contract or they keep it going, he's going to be owed $40.5 million over the next 2 years. They're not going to pay that money for Tyrod Taylor. That means he could be in the open market. I just wonder that if you go away from a Rex Ryan after 2 years, you don't want to be the Cleveland Browns of the AFC East where you're constantly starting over, and doing that every 2 years. I'm not saying that Rex Ryan has been any great shakes, and when you put it out there with that bravado and that braggadocio that you're going to win immediately and you don't do it in this day and age in the National Football League, owners are not going to give you a long shelf life. But that being said, this team has continued to play hard for him. They've had some tough losses. Why not give it one more year? But it seems to me that no matter what happens, even if they finish 9-7, that the Buffalo Bills will have a new head coach next year. So in essence, once again, just like 2 years ago, they're going to be starting over to see if they can get this program and get it into the playoffs, a place they have not been in a long, long time.
Jets with the backup quarterback, Bryce Petty, this weekend. Again, did he show you anything against San Francisco to lead you to believe that the Jets might be onto something here?
The one thing he showed me was toughness because it can't be easy the first pass you throw in the game, and it's a pick six the other way. But he didn't waver. He didn't back down. He was willing to go out there and try to make plays because Bryce Petty knows this. He's in a no-lose situation. If he doesn't play well, they're going to stick with him because they made that decision. So outside of injury, he's going to be the Jets quarterback the rest of the regular season. I think by having that freedom, if I can use that word in this situation, he can just go out and play. Because we saw at the end of the game where he gets into the end zone on a play that they needed to have a chance to tie the game and go into overtime. And even though there's going to be some things that he's going to learn on the fly, I don't think we have to question his toughness. He's going to go out there and he's going to be the best he can be, and he's not going to back down from anybody, any player, any situation. So if he keeps improving just a little bit as the regular season goes along, I can't even imagine what it would do for his confidence if he's able to take the Jets into Miami, a late season game, and beat a team that has playoff aspirations. If he's able to do that, it's not about his stock rising up with the media or the fans. His stock is going to rise up in two most important places, the locker room and with upper management. So that's the one thing he showed me against a one-win San Francisco team after the Jets were down by 11. He showed enough toughness that he was not afraid. He went out and played, made some plays. The teammates were able to raise their game, and we saw what happened at the end of that game game with that team winning.
Freddie, Dallas at home Sunday night against Tampa, a red-hot Tampa team. If Dallas gets off to a poor start, and I know you know where I'm going with this, they get off to a poor start, Dak Prescott gets off to a poor start, do you think Tony Romo could be in that football game Sunday night?
I don't think so, and I hope so. I hope it won't happen for this standpoint, because at a certain point, Jerry Jones is going to have to stand down, but we know, Roger, he's not going to do that. Troy Aikman said he was dumbfounded by his comments, and I said, Troy, you play for this guy. Why are you dumbfounded by anything that Jerry Jones has to say? He never met a microphone that he did not want to talk into, or a TV camera that he did not want to have his face in front of. And when you have a radio show, of course you're going to feel you can say anything you want when you own the football team. I think the best thing about this is that Jason Garrett has not gone down that blind alley with Jerry Jones. Jerry Jones has said whatever he wants, and Jason Garrett said, Dak Prescott's our quarterback. Everybody knows it. We believe he's going to bounce back, and he hasn't gone through anything tough in his rookie season that any other quarterback in the National Football League has not gone through. So he has been steadfast in saying, yeah, about Jerry Jones, he's the owner, he can say what he wants, but Dak Prescott is our guy. And I fully expect, the Tampa Bay defense, the last 4 to 5 weeks has been playing lights-out football. They've done a great job under Dirk Cutter. I'm not going to expect that Dak Prescott is going to have a struggle. It's going to be a little bit, but not to the level of the Minnesota Vikings game. They won that ball game, and he wasn't that bad against the Giants. I think a lot of people look at the fact that he was less than 50%. Des Bryant doesn't fumble the football in that final possession. We could be having a whole different conversation about Dak Prescott. So I think he's going to play well, but it won't be easy because you got Jameis Winston on the other side, and that Tampa Bay defense has been extraordinarily good the last 5 weeks.
Freddie Coleman, you are extraordinarily good. We always appreciate a few minutes here on the Friday show, and now that you have your new open, I'm sure you'll be pumped to come back this time next week.
Oh, I'm pumped to come back anyway, but now that I got some fanfare, I mean, come on now, guys. I mean, only good's going to come out of that.
Freddie, happy holidays to you. We'll talk to you this time next week, man.
Absolutely. Have a great weekend, Roger and Zach, and take care.